Welcome to This Week in Metropolis. The transmission will begin shortly.
Yeah, King P here.
And Steelio7 as well.
Steelio7. And this is the first episode of This Week in Metropolis. Today we're going to be talking about all things superhero related, sci-fi related,
News related,
news related, and just see where the conversation takes us. So, do you want to go first or me? What have you got?
Well, my one goes straight into superheroes, so it's kind of linked to another End Game, Avengers End Game trailer that was released. I think it was yesterday. It came out. It was a special look at it, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on whether trailers these days, are there too many?
Yeah. Well, do you want my confession on this? I've only watched one Endgame trailer,
well, that's
so
good.
I'm completely behind. But saying that, the reason I probably haven't watched it is exactly what you said. Is that I feel that one trailer came out. I watched that. There's one Tony Stark in the spaceship. So I don't know how long ago that was. Do you know the one I mean? It's probably a month or so ago.
The first ones that came out, yeah.
Saw that. And then, to be honest, it seems like there's been, a preview bit, and then there's another bit, and then a final trailer, and yeah, it's exhausting, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on the new ones, anyway?
I mean, it's really good, but again, it's spoiler central, really, because you kind of get a gist of. I mean, from watching that first one, you didn't know what was going to happen with Iron Man, but now. I mean, when you start piecing them together, you can kind of work out when they all get back together, and so I mean, you can expect these sort of things, but I think in today's day and age, do they need to release that many trailers? I remember when we were younger, it was you'd have one trailer come out, maybe two at a push, and you were excited to see the film and everything about it. And don't get me wrong, I think the film's going to be like 3 hours long, so. It's not like it's the whole.
That's
the
in 30 seconds. You've not seen it all. But
exactly.
I think you saying that though, when we was younger, I think, and you probably didn't realise it then, but looking back now, when you see a trailer for an old film, the trailers were generally not bad, maybe but slightly misleading in some sense. Like they had a style to them, whereas now I think it probably is more part of the narrative, isn't it? It sets you up for what's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, they've also released today, I don't know whether you've seen it, the first proper trailer for the Joker movie, which does look incredible. I think Joaquin Phoenix, he's going to be... a friend of mine posted earlier today that he never thought there'd be a kind of someone to really take that role since Heath Ledger, but he does look, and the film looks very.
It looks like Christopher Nolan did it.
Yeah,
in that sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's got the same sort of mood.
And it makes a change for DC movies because it looks like it's an origin story. So, DC have probably tried to rush a lot of the stuff that they've done since the Marvel Universe stuff. Kind of went down the path that it went down, and with great success. But this looks like they're really trying to go back to the bare bones of it and put a story in, which, as I say, as long as they keep going down that route, it'll work. They can't just rush things.
I think that's a good point, though, in that, if you think back to where, and, correct me if I'm wrong, where really this whole wave of superhero films that we've had recently started was really with sort of Batman Begins. And that beforehand you had I guess you had the Tim Burton Batmans that sort of set the darker tone, which were very good, but were still quite kids films more than anything. And then a few after that, but then Batman Begins made made superhero films serious, made it a respectable film, and then with The Dark Knight and so on after it. But then it seems you had Marvel absolutely kill it on every single film pretty much since.
Yeah.
Learning from what Christopher Nolan did, but now DC seem to have been chasing Marvel to try and get a piece in that action. And in a way, maybe not being true to themselves. They'd sort of been trying to, with Suicide Squad, not seen it, but it seemed like a bit of a caricature. It's like, oh yeah, this really wacky, and it just didn't quite cut it.
It was too busy straight from the off. I think that was the problem with it. And although
even now they're talking about rebooting it, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that's what James Gunn, I think, was linked with. But I think he's still taking that up as well, even though
I think he's doing both now.
Appointed him, haven't they, for Guardians? But that was a problem. And I think even with Avengers, people were a bit sceptical about everyone coming together from the Marvel side of it, and how they would all get enough screen time and it not be a bit overload. But Marvel have obviously made it work, and it's not just been one movie. So the problem with Suicide Squad was it kind of tried to thrust too much down your throat when you've got no backup story to a lot of the characters in it.
Well, and not in the same way someone can relate to Captain America, and even if you're a casual comic book fan, you think, oh yeah, I know Captain America, it's or Thor or whatever. Suicide Squad was probably alien to a lot of people as well in terms of a thing, I guess, as well.
I guess going back to the point about the trailers, obviously sells. That's what trailers do. We talk about them all the time. Have you seen this one, or for a TV show or whatever? And that's what draws you to going to see a movie or a show. But with a film as big as that, surely less is more. They've already got a huge following. If you haven't already seen the backup films to it, then you don't really need to see so many trailers to sell a movie as big as that, I don't think. No.
And in a way, I think it's you saying that is, and we've had the conversation before. You're at a point now, and I think it's quite good in a way. You're at the point with the Marvel films now. You're at the end of that arc of the story, and it's about to sort of reset itself, and has a bit with, I guess, Captain Marvel and that, isn't it? You're moving in that new direction, and the people that are going to see End Game are the ones that have followed through. I doubt you're going to get. Well, you will get people just thinking, oh, that looks like a good film, I'm going to see it. But so much has come before it, you're already committed, if you know what I mean. It's if you saw the other Avengers films and you saw the previous Marvel ones, you're already so invested in it, you're going to see the next one, aren't you? Exactly, you've got to find out what's going to happen with it.
Yeah.
On that note, but one of the things that I found was the American chain AMC cinemas. They are going to be screening all 22 films in order. You can go there if you're in the States, obviously either in New York, Chicago or San Francisco, for $125 on April the 23rd. You can go and see every single one of the films in order, and then they will play the new one straight afterwards. How insane is that? It does say how long that is. Set over 60 hours.
So you're just living in a cinema?
You're actually living in cinema. One of the comments on the article that I saw that on said, can you imagine how bad that cinema is going to smell? And it's true. You got hundreds of people sweating for 60 hours.
And they're just all back to back?
Back to back, yeah.
I don't think I could handle that.
No,
it's tough enough watching an 8-hour wrestling pay-per-view if I watch one of them. You know what I mean? I've got WrestleMania this Sunday. I won't be watching that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you know me, I find it... Lord of the Rings put me off because it's about 4 hours. That was...
But didn't Star Wars do a similar thing where they done a back-to-back?
They did, But I guess with Star Wars, it's only... Well, I think at the point they did it, I think you probably only had 4 films or whatever it was. Yeah. So
More
It's a big
manageable.
difference. Yeah, exactly. But no, that's absolutely insane. The other thing I was going to say, Avengers related, again, you mentioning the trailers and the hype. Apparently, opening night tickets, so people are, booked to see it midnight when it comes out. Because they did sort of pre-release and people have been able to book tickets. Some people are now selling those tickets for up to $500 on eBay.
Wow.
Just to see it, which to me sounds absolutely insane.
That's ridiculous. I mean, I'm going to be seeing it on the when does it come out? 16th.
23rd. No, is it 16th?
I think over here it's the 16th because I'm going to see it on the 17th. A friend of mine's booked the tickets already in London. The plan was to go and see it at the BCI, which is the largest IMAX screen in London, or maybe in the UK, I don't know. But that was sold out, so then we're going to see it in Leicester Square. But tickets for that, just even to see it on that weekend, I think they were like £25 a pop.
Yeah,
Which
exactly. If you want to see an IMAX or whatever, that's the sort of price you pay, isn't it?
Yeah.
26th of April, apparently. Just look that up.
Maybe it's the 27th then that I'm seeing it.
Yeah. But really, if you're really keen on seeing it, as long as you've seen it within, if you're pretty dedicated, if you've seen it within 24 hours of the release date, aren't you? Let alone, the thought of getting there at midnight or something like that and then watching it.
That's keen, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very, very keen. Again, there seems to be this sort of week, particularly loads. And I guess it's not coincidental, is it? You've got one of the major films coming out, so naturally there's going to be stories other Avengers related. One of the things I saw, which I think thinking back to. We're big gamers, paying a SNES or whatever it may have been. There is an Iron Man VR game which is being released, and so once you got the helmet on and that, you can see that your hands and the boosters and that, and the different missions you do are flying around. There's one where you're sort of battling something. There's one where you're jumping out. I think you're falling, and I'm sure that this may have been in one of the films. You're falling and you're having to get the bits of the suit. Was that in 3? That happened at Iron Man 3, maybe?
Yeah.
It's falling through the air and you have to get the bits of the suit, and so that you save Pepper in time, and that looks absolutely amazing. Or sounds amazing, so I think there's only been sort of screenshots of it.
Yeah.
The question really for you, though, is, which works in your favour, it's a PS4 exclusive, so they're not doing it on anything else. What are your thoughts on that?
They're not doing it on that, but then could that be linked to Sony? Maybe, I don't know, because they're giving up a lot of their stuff to Disney, aren't they? So the rights to, so maybe it's a little sweetener for them. But
yeah, well, they had the exclusive of Spider-Man as well, didn't they, on the console? So I don't know if there's any relation to that or not.
Possibly. Sounds interesting. I mean, I haven't even got the VR headset for the PlayStation, but it's one of them ones where you're kind of waiting for. Me personally, I think I wait for it to take off and for there to be something that's like groundbreaking before I commit to getting it, because there's a lot of things. You had the one with the sticks. I'd never got that because not really. I mean, me, I'm pretty much a FIFA guy, so
FIFA in VR, that's going to be the one that's going to push
well,
over the edge,
that one day when I can actually play for Real Madrid. But
yeah, you have to have some weird VR boot controllers, though, I think, to do it.
And then I'll just send Real Madrid all my footage so they can see how good I am in virtual reality, and hopefully they'll just say, "God,
also in sign you."
Yeah. So I have to check that out. I have to see what that's like.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that I think. So I've got the article here. I think it's in development at the moment. So it's something that's just being previewed now. But I think it's a clear direction of where games are heading, really, isn't it? In terms of that sort of thing, it's incredible that you can. I remember some of the film tie-ins playing those Terminator 2 and stuff like that, and it's literally you're absolutely nothing to do in the film. You're walking along and shooting something, but this is you can literally you watch the film and then you can you're almost in that film, which I think is incredible, isn't it? To have that.
Yeah,
indeed. What else you got? What's the?
I've literally probably an hour before we started this just read an article. Now this will be not uncommon to you when I bring this name up.
Oh, okay.
But Matt Healy from the 1975.
You may have mentioned him before.
Yeah. Episode 1 of our podcast, and I'm already on it. I've just seen an article, I don't know if you've seen it today, and he's questioning why bands, artists are charging, probably not so much the band themselves, but are charging fans for meet and greets. He said, why should we be charging fans to meet us? It's an exploitation basically of humans, and I just think, God, how refreshing is it to hear someone? Yeah. Plus, I love him.
You do love him, so you would probably pay any amount of money to meet him. So, so you wish he'd change his mind?
I'm a big fan. But when I think he was. It's led on to other people coming out and some agreeing with him, some disagreeing. I just think it's refreshing to hear someone coming out like that and saying, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I think for me it's more, I agree with him, but also I know that there's part of me that I've done not with sort of any enormous art. Well. A hip hop group called Mobb Deep. I paid extra and met them. It was very, it's not you sign up for these things and you imagine, oh wow, I'm going to be able to talk to them, or I've always wanted to ask them that. The reality often is, and I think that's what you're sort of getting at, is they shove a record or a poster in your hand that's been signed, and then you get your picture and then you're out. Yeah. So you've spent whatever it was, I think that and the ticket was 50 quid in total or something I paid. And that's a shame, because it is, they're doing it purely for money, aren't they? It's not necessarily for the interest. I still got a thing out of it because I got to see it. Being close to someone you've seen on a video before or whatever is pretty cool. But, it's, and thinking back, God, imagine if you had the opportunity to meet some of these, stars that aren't around anymore or something like that. Would have been pretty cool. But he's right in the sense that, that some of these, I'm sure, imagine if you're paying 200 quid to meet your favourite person and you're in and out in 30 seconds and it's just you and 20 other people. It's clearly for their advantage rather than yours, isn't it?
Exactly. I think what's different about, I've done meet and greets before and not paid. I've done Charlie Simpson, his album signing. I met him, and again, you had to buy the album. That was kind of the covering of the cost, I guess. He signed it. You had a picture with him, and then you were gone. You were on your way again. So, it was nice to meet him, but then he wasn't at the same level. Yeah. So not from my perspective, but in the public eye and in success of his, at the time, his solo career, and then in comparison to the 1975, who are probably up there at the moment as
one of the biggest bands in the UK at the moment, aren't they? If not, and worldwide. So
the tour at the moment is going all over the place. So, what's interesting about that is the fact that it is coming from someone who's part of a band that people would be happy to pay an extortion amount of money to meet them. But then to have that kind of and say, well, why? I think that's quite refreshing.
To me as well, I think that in a way, that's only part of the problem, in the sense of you've got these meet and greet packages, but then when you see, particularly I think the arena sort of stuff now, you see, I don't know, you've got one ticket that will cost you, say, 50 or 60 quid, and then, but if you want this will then cost you 150 quid, and then if you want that, it's
The jump
it's
is quite
endless, isn't it? And so I remember looking at I think it was Metallica when I've seen them at the O2 before, but now when they come, I think there was sort of an exhibition out the back as well, and you bought a particular ticket and you saw this exhibition about the band and that, and it's just insane.
Mm.
Sometimes you just want to see them, you know what I mean? Just I want to buy a ticket and see the show rather than getting sidetracked with all that business. But no. But it is incredible for him to come out, and I think he seems, it speaks volumes how sincere he is. And I think, I don't know whether it's the same article that you saw. There was a picture of him with the fans, I think, on the article itself, and it clearly does it for free, doesn't he? Which makes it even better.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing I wanted to mention, which is superhero related again, just bring this back to that subject. I don't know whether you've seen, there have been a couple of announcements. I think we spoke very briefly about one, about new actresses being associated with Marvel films or superhero films. So one of the big ones, or certainly big in terms of an actress, Angelina Jolie, is been sort of associated with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which will be a program. I don't know if is it a film they're doing or a program, not too sure, called The Eternals. Which apparently is, it's not. I'm not the most diehard of comic book fans, but apparently it's the character that she's been rumored to be associated with, which is called. Let's have a look. Sorry, Cersei. A member in the Eternals, but apparently in some of the comic books, Cersei is quite a big part of the sort of Avengers and that. So even though it's one of the smaller characters, I think in certain comic books it was, a pretty big deal as such. And certainly, I think if you've got someone like Angelina Jolie being involved with it, they clearly think it's going to be a credible film.
Yeah,
moving forward.
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of TV series for Marvel as well. I mean, although we've got all the movies that we've mentioned earlier, there's a new one I think that's already in its second series called Cloak and Dagger, which is another one. There's one that I watched, which name escapes me right this second, but it was about a guy who I think he got put into like a mental home. That was really good. I'm sure that was Marvel. And then there's quite a few, yes. And I mean, you've still got actually to come out this year, I think, Dark Phoenix, which is the new X-Men. I mean, that's another one. I mean, you think the X-Men series has been pushed to one side, really, and kept in its own kind of, grouping. They haven't kind of crossed over with that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you had the stuff on the Netflix series, which I raved about, that.
Yeah. But really, even with the X-Men stuff, again, I guess that was one, when I was saying earlier about the Dark Knight and that, but I guess that was one that almost set the scene as well. You forget how many X-Men films there have been prior to Iron Man and all of that stuff kicking off. And even they did all the prequel ones not that long ago, didn't they, as well? Well,
yeah, they've done a few of them,
yeah. The other actress that is again, it's quite interesting to see, is Melissa McCarthy as well. Is rumoured to be in a new superhero movie on Netflix. It's with an actress as well called Octavia Spencer. who I've not seen in anything, but the film is apparently could be called Thunder Force. But
I feel like I've heard of that. Rings
yeah,
a bell. And
exactly.
Melissa McCarthy as well. I think she wouldn't be a bad shout, although you'd think about her kind of
Yeah, you associate with
portfolio of
comedy. And,
movies.
yeah.
It's comedy. But then you look at Paul Rudd, you know, and him as
True.
Ant-Man, Ryan Reynolds, you know,
yeah,
how well have them two done? And they're predominantly comedy actors. So
Yeah.
and they've added a different element to the movies. I mean, some of them are. I think the cinematic movies are a little bit more cheesy in places.
Yeah.
You've had a few where there's darker, like Civil War, for example.
Yeah.
That had its dark moments. I
Yeah.
think Netflix took it in a different direction with kind of Daredevil and things like that. It was proper
Yeah.
dark, which I really enjoyed because it was different.
Yeah.
But Melissa McCarthy, I mean, I don't think that would be too bad. But then
No.
you've only got to look at the newest DC one, which is Shazam. I don't know if you've seen any of that.
I've seen the. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't quite know what to make of it.
No, me neither.
And what it reminds me of, well, again, the one that I've not watched it's on Amazon Prime, I think. Is it called The Tick? Something like that. It's a blue
I've heard
sort
of
of thing.
Yeah,
But again, I think that's more of a
blue. He's like a blue
insect thing.
Yeah. Well, he's a tick. Yeah,
A tick. Yeah. The clues in the title.
Might be something to do with that.
But again, I look at that. I know it just seems a bit silly.
Do you know what it makes me think of?
I've not seen either of them, but so can't really comment. But
it makes me think of a superhero version of Big.
Big.
Remember Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
And he's the kid, and he does the machine, and then all of a sudden he's an adult.
Yes.
Because obviously with this, it's a kid who obviously.
I watched Shazam. Is that what the plot is?
I didn't know. Kid who turns into so although he's this big superhero, it's actually a kid's mind. So that's where I'm getting the big element from.
Right.
That's what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
Mm.
I didn't realise, to be honest. I've just seen the posters, and it's probably not the right attitude. But you see the poster, you think, nah.
I feel like The Rock was maybe linked with that movie before whoever it is who's taken up this role. I'm pleased that he's not in it because I think it could have ruined him. But
maybe that's why he's not in it.
Yeah,
because
I think he's got plenty to keep him busy as well.
Exactly. No, the man who does it, as far as I'm aware, is, I don't know what the actor's name is, but he was in Chuck. I think the program's called. Was it Chuck?
Chuck. Yeah.
He worked in, I know, Walmart or something like that, and then. Suddenly, he discovered he had superpowers, didn't? Oh no, he was a spy. Was that the
rings the bell? Rings
years ago now.
I think I remember it, but I can't remember watching it.
Yeah, I know. Dear me. Well, I think that's about it, really, isn't it? Or have you got other things to?
Well, to wrap up, I finally watched Lego Batman today.
Yeah, we thought
just amazing, and the guy, is it Will Arnett?
Yeah,
who does what I mean. It's the best, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
He nails that. He gets that right line of sort of Christian Bale Batman. Because there was a bit of mocking of the old sort of voice, especially in the later ones with Christian Bale.
Yeah,
and he just nails it, doesn't he?
Yeah. And if you've ever, it just reminds me of if you've ever seen Superhero Cafe on YouTube, where it's Batman and Superman sitting in the cafe.
Yes, I think I have.
And his answer to everything is because I'm Batman, and that just makes me like there was so much of that in the film. I thought it was brilliant. I thought some of the funny, mentions in it that probably kids who are watching it. I mean, my son's watching it, and he's. Yeah. Got no idea. He's just finding it funny because it's Lego. But there's obviously jokes in there which are linked to.
I think in the song at the beginning where he's I can't remember the exact lyric, but something like who hasn't paid all their taxes or something like that. Batman, yeah. I just love it. But what I meant to do after I go home and seeing it in the cinema, and what I meant to do, see again in that song at the beginning. they quote so many different superheroes that
Yeah.
they say, "Oh, look them up," because
Yeah.
they're real. And there's some really odd ones, aren't there? Really,
Yeah.
or really silly sounding ones.
Yeah, there was, yeah. Because I thought a lot of them were made up. All the villains that he's put away or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. But I do think, honestly, that is one of the best Batman
Do you
films.
think they'll make a second one of Lego Batman?
Yes, so. I don't know if they've started it. I mean, if you think they did the thingy, didn't they? Lego Movie 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have thought so. I'm just googling it, just out of curiosity. Will there be a Lego Batman Movie 2? No, it doesn't say, so maybe not. And that'd be awesome if there was.
Mm.
There's a section for it in IMDb.
I guess because it's an animated movie, they haven't really got any restrictions, have they? They can go where they want it to go, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. Cool. Well, I think that's everything covered, really, isn't it? So yeah, we'll do it again next week.
Yeah. Hope everyone enjoys.
Yes. Goodbye.
Goodbye, world.
Thank you for listening. Transmission over.